Alright everyone, nice having you here again. This is another series in our healthcare analysis using Python. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to have Python run and analyze data. So all you have to do is to make sure you download the dataset we're actually using for this particular analysis to follow along step by step and learn how to actually use Python for data analytics. So see you in the class. Previously, we have solved this particular question, and now it is time for you to look at this right here. So let's go into Python and take a look at how we can answer this particular question. So if you look at it over here, it says which diseases are most commonly diagnosed among the patients. So let's go to our CSV file. So open up this particular CSV file right here. Can you see? This is the columns that's stored in the disease that we have right here. So you have to understand which column can actually give you what you want before you start actually writing the script. Coming back right here right now, what we need to do to actually get that is to actually, first of all, understand or get to pull out all the diseases and as well count the numbers of patients for each disease. So let's do that. To get that done right now, we're going to say disease underscore counts equals, right? So our data frame is actually health underscore data. So inside it now we have, inside this particular table, we have a column called disease, right? So what we want to do to this now is not to actually display this, but to actually just create a count of it, right? So I'm going to do dot value underscore counts. So this has actually created count for me. So if I go ahead and actually print this now, I'm going to print disease underscore counts. So let's see what we're going to have. So it's going to display to me all the diseases we actually have, from diabetes, malaria, asthma, tuberculosis, and it's just going to keep on, going through every single one and tell me the numbers of patients, for each disease right here. So this is not actually what we want, but to show you, we can actually display this on the chart for the first time. Here we go. We're going to take off the print, and now to actually display this on the chart, what we need to do is to just say here ax equals disease underscore counts. So which means we are trying to call this particular variable here again. So once we have done that, we're going to say here dot plot. So we are trying to plot this. Open. If you remember this, we did it previously. So here, bar. So we're going to use a bar chart. So the color, set the color to anything of your choice. So in my own case, I'm going to set the color to this coral. So we can go ahead and close this now. And if I just go ahead and run this, I'm going to have something like this. Okay, the question is this: does this answer this particular question? And the answer is no. We are close to it. So we can now see that this particular malaria has the highest value, followed by asthma, tuberculosis, diabetes right here. But this did not actually answer the question being asked. So what can we do to actually best answer this particular question? So what we can do right now is to make sure we only show the top 3 diseases. And how can we display the top 3 diseases right here? That is something you have to start thinking about right now. So it's very easy. So to get that done now, we can come over here, just shift enter to open a new cell to type in. So inside this particular new cell right here, so we're going to do something similar to what we have done the other time, but a little bit different this time around. So I'm going to say disease underscore count, so equals health underscore data. So inside here we have a column called disease, just like what we've done previously. Now I want to set it to count, that is value underscore count. And once we have done this now, we only want to return the top 3 after we have done the count. So we're going to do n largest here. So what number do we want to return? Just 3. So we are going to return the top 3 largest, number from here. So you can leave a comment to remember what this is actually doing. Get the top 3 diseases. Right? So once we have done this now, the next thing we have to do is to set this as a visualization, or you can just go ahead and print this out if that is what you want. So right now, let's just go ahead and print this out. So print will print disease underscore count. So now here we have the top 3 here. So it's malaria, asthma, tuberculosis. If we go over here now, 1, 2, 3, we have the tallest bars ever. So this is what we actually have right now. So this now answered the question. So if we go back to the question again, it's actually saying which diseases are most commonly diagnosed among the patients. So we have extracted the 3 diseases out right now, and this is exactly what you need to know. All right, so what if our boss now says, okay, I think I love what you have done, but what if you just show me the values? I don't actually, I'm not interested in looking at the numbers like this and the diseases as well. So I just want to get the values, like the aggregation of each of the diseases right here, and return the value for me. So that is another thing we have to look into. And again, what if our boss says, oh, why don't you just show me this as a percentage? Instead of me looking at this as normal value, I want to see the percentage of the grand total, and as well the percentage of each one among the top 3. So before we go on, let us actually look at how we can actually display the values without displaying the diseases like malaria, asthma right here. To get that done right now, what we need to do is to actually keep this one, just Ctrl+C to copy, Shift Enter to create a new cell, paste this one over here. Okay, once this is pasted here now, the next thing we have to do is just to this particular print part here. I'm going to take it off for now. So what I'm going to do is just to do total underscore top 3. So to get total top 3 right now, we're going to actually come over here and say top underscore disease. So underscore count. So equals underscore count. Oh, sorry, we don't need to do this. We are declaring that variable again. So we have a variable called total top 3. So we're going to actually take this particular variable here and count. So we're counting this particular 3 diseases that we have right here, and not count again. We are summing the values together, which means we are summing this particular 1193, 966, and 864 together. And to do that, we just do that sum over here. That is all we need to do. So once we have done this now, we can display to see what exactly this will actually give to us. So we can now just go ahead and say print, and we print total underscore top 3 here. So here we go. We have something like this. So this actually looks so cool. This is okay. It looks well, but it's not really making any sense right now to just display a number right in here. So what if we print something else as part of this? So we can go over to this particular part here and actually do total count of the 3 most common diseases. So now we can actually go ahead and put a comma here and have this one closed. So this will actually give us our some kind of, sorry, this comma shouldn't come here. The comma should be right here. So right now, if I run this, it gives me this total count of the 3 most common diseases, and here is the number. So does this make any sense at all? Yes, it does, but not fully. So this is not showing a comma separator to show in thousand right now. It's just bringing the numbers together. So how do we actually make sure we add a comma separator to this? So before this particular print will come over here now, we are going to do format underscore value, right? So to format this now, we are going to do this. So inside curly bracket, we are going to do something like this. So put up a comma here, and next again is for we to go outside it and have this closed. Dot format. So what are we trying to format? Open a bracket or parenthesis here. We're trying to format this particular, total top 3 over here. And once we have done that, we can actually paste this one in here and go ahead and have this closed. So we have done this now. The next thing is for me to run this. So when I run this, nothing seems to happen. So where is the problem coming from? That was because we have not actually updated this one. You can just do format underscore value. So if we run this now, we have a comma separator right in here. Can you see how this is right now? So this has given us exactly what our boss will be happy, seeing, because if you just display the value without the comma separator, it's going to be something very weird. Okay, let me copy this again to show you that you can do to this. So let's say we paste this over here now, and this one is capturing top 3, right? And what our boss wants is to actually change this one anytime he likes to top 4, top 5, top 6, and whatsoever. So over here, if I run this again, so we have this particular part that actually gives us total count of the top 3 most common diseases. So if I come over here and change this one to 5, so before I actually run this, look at the number we have right here. Now I'm going to run this now. The number has changed and actually increased because I'm actually displaying the top, 5, right? So if you look at it right now, this particular one is still showing the wrong description right here. So how can we make this one to be very dynamic? That is what we're about to do right now. So to get this one to be dynamic, I'm going to come above this one here and type in dynamic top. So with my dynamic top now, I'm going to put an equal sign and put 2 right in here. So which means I can actually come over here, make a change of this, and it will definitely update this one for me automatically, and this here will update. So if I run this, nothing happens. I still have the same exact thing I have right here. To make use of this now, instead of me to actually hand code 5 right in here, I'm going to take off this 5 and do dynamic top. So with my dynamic top right now, look at what happens. If I run it, this particular number will change. So it has changed this particular number I have right here, but this particular descriptive part of it is still not changed, which means it doesn't make any sense. So what do we do? So before print, I'm going to copy this particular part from here. Can you see? Down to here now. So once you have done that, you can actually cut it. We don't need it again there. So before the print, we come above it and we type in here, I think, let me just use message, whatever, or description. So with my description, put an equal sign here. So over here, I'm going to paste this one in here. So if I have it pasted, I'm going to put an F here, very importantly. So with my F here and this over here now, what do I need? So I'm going to make this particular part here to be some kind of dynamic, this 3 here to be dynamic. So I'm going to remove it, and inside curly bracket, I'm going to reference this particular dynamic top right here. So paste this one over here, and now let's see what happens if I change this one to 5 now. And over here, if I come over here, and this particular description is what I'm going to reference inside my print here. So if you look at what I have here now, I still maintain the top 2, and right now it has changed to top 5. So this particular 3 will be changed automatically. So can you see it now? So it has changed for me. You know, it's now giving me total count of the 5 most common diseases. So it's giving me the value right here. Let's see if I change this to 7. What happens? So it has changed, and actually it's reporting the right thing over here. This is something you need to know about. It's something very mere, but if you actually fail to know this, it's going to be very weird. Okay. By now, this particular total top 3 here is not making sense. We can actually just use total top if we don't want to make it dynamic. So you just come over here, you remove this particular one, and run this to make sure you confirm that it's actually working properly. So what about this? This is exactly what you need to know. Is very, very important. Okay, right now, we are going to go back here. Sorry, I think over here. Let's see here. So we're going to come back over to this particular part. So this one displays this. I'm going to copy this particular one from here. Let's go down to a new cell. I'm going to paste it in and actually run this. If I run this right now, it's going to give us something like this. So which means it's actually retrieving the top 3 for us. What we want, if we want to return the smallest number, like the least diseases that people actually come for. So over here, instead of me to show n largest, I'm going to show n smallest here. And if I run this right now, the number changes, and as well the diseases changes, right? That is how you can do that. But that is not why we are here. Let's Ctrl Z to return it back to where it is. So right now we're returning the largest numbers. So what if our boss now says, I want to look at it based on the percentage of the grand total? What do you do? So I think, first of all, I am going to actually show you how it works. Let us go to my Excel and let's see what we're going to achieve. So open up the data you actually downloaded inside your PC. So let's go over to insert, and inside a pivot table. Now we have a new pivot table. With this particular new pivot table here, I'm going to create a fresh one. Let's go ahead and drag diseases in here and drag any other column in here, and automatically it's going to default to count. If it doesn't, click over here and go over to via value field settings here and make sure if it's on sum, change to count and click on OK. Okay, right now we have this. The next thing I'm going to do right now is to right click and go over to show value as percentage of grand total. So next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and do sort largest to smallest. So if you look at it right now, malaria, asthma, and tuberculosis are the top 3 diseases that people actually come for, right? And I'm going to just go ahead and round this quickly. So let's go to home and round this. So now malaria is giving us 15%, asthma is giving us 12%, and tuberculosis is giving us 11%. So how do we actually make sure we create something like this inside, Python, but not showing every diseases, just for the top, the top diseases, right? So after we might have done that, I want to do something else. If I come over here, paste this over here right now, right click over here and go to filter and do top. So now we're going to select top 3, right? And click on OK. So if you look at it, this one now, this particular 3 together is actually giving us what? Is actually giving us just, 38%, right? So while this particular part right here put together gives us 100%. So what is going on right here? So over here, this percentage is showing based on the grand total, while this particular one is actually showing this particular percentage is against asthma and tuberculosis, and it's going to return 3%. Let's see how we can achieve the same thing inside Python. So coming back right now, to achieve the same exact thing we have just seen over there, we are going to do something. And what it is do we need to do? So over here, I'm not going to display this again. I'm going to take it off, and if I hit my enter key, it doesn't run anything for me. So now we need to actually determine which diseases are more commonly or prevalent whatsoever. So which is this particular one? We have returned the top 3, right? So after we have done this one now, the next thing we have to do again, we're going to say total disease. So total disease is right here. We're going to do count. So that is the count of the total diseases. So what we're going to do right now is to come over here and do health underscore data. And we have a column called disease. So what we want to do now is to actually count value, counts for us. So we do underscore count. So after we have counted this now, we want to actually sum up everything. So we're going to put another full step here. So we do sum. This sums for us. So to test out what we have done, we can do print. And what we're trying to print right now, we are printing this particular new variable we have right here. And if I go ahead and paste this here, close and hit the enter key right now, this should run for me, but it's not running. Let's see what happens. So let's convert this one to uppercase. So you can see whenever you actually use uppercase anywhere, when you want to actually, return that, you want to make sure it's correct. Otherwise, it's going to give you an error just like this. So let us return this back. So fix the error. Now we have this. So this is what it has given us. So this is our grand total. So while this one, if we display what this gives us to us now over here, so we have individual value for the top 3 diseases we have right in here. You get it right now? So to get the percentage now, what we can do is just something very simple. So over here, so to calculate the top 3 percentage now, what we're going to do is to actually say percentage here and equals. So with my equals, I'm going to open a bracket, and inside this, I'm going to actually bring in my disease count. That is the top 3. So to make it some kind of easy, we can actually update this one to top 3 here to remember it. So I'm going to come here and do disease underscore count top 3. So we're going to divide it by the total underscore diseases underscore count. So once I've done that, I'm going to just go ahead and divide it and actually convert to a percentage by doing multiply by 100. So once this is done now, we're going to actually go ahead and print. So we are printing our percentage. So make sure this one is correct. So once we printed our percentage here, what the heck is going on? Then this is count top 3. Disease is not correct. So here we go. So now we have something like this. So what we have here is actually 14, 12, and 10. It's not like what we have in Excel. In Excel, we rounded it and it's giving us something that make lots of sense. But this one now is not really making any damn sense. It's showing us a decimal number. So we don't want to actually have it with multiple decimal numbers. We just want to make sure we actually round it up. And how do we create this particular rounding of a thing? That is the next thing we have to do. We create a round and we make sure that we some kind of convert it to percentage. So I would love to copy this away from here. So Shift Enter to open a new cell, paste it over here. So I'm going to keep this over here to come back and check what this gives us and compare it to the new one we're going to actually get into. All right, so beneath here now, we're going to create a rounding. So I am going to call this one here, let's just call it round percentage. So to round percentage right now, what we're going to do is just for we to say equals, and we come over here and reference this particular variable here into this particular path. So once we have done that, I'm going to say dot round. So we round to 0, and we do dot as type right here. So as type, we're going to convert it to integer. So once we have done this now, instead of us to actually display this percentage here, we're going to display this. And over here, let us take a look at what we have. So look at what we have here. 14.9 is now 15. How does it work? So this particular 9 is converted to 1 and added to 14 is now giving us 15. But 12 remains 12 right here. The reason why was because the 0 after the decimal, now the point here is not up to 5. Anything from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 cannot be approximated. So we didn't approximate this, we leave it the way it is. But this one can be approximated, and now we have 11 right here. But the question is this, does it give us what we want? No. So I'm going to copy this particular one again and open up a new cell and paste this over here. On this particular new cell, we are going to actually make sure we convert it into a percentage. So what are we going to do to get this done? So instead of me printing this out now, I'm going to combine it here and do a loop. So I'm going to use for loop here. So it's going to be disease, comma, PCT for percentage. So this one can be anything you like. I'm going to show you how to change this, and it's still going to give you, the same exact thing. So PCT for percentage in. So we have to now reference the rounded one, which is this particular one here. So over here, if you understand how loops work, you're going to understand this. So I'm going to do dot items. Right? So now it's printing. So I'm going to print. So to print now, I'm going to use F. So inside curly brackets, I'm going to print the disease. So make sure the spelling is very correct. Otherwise, you're going to have something weird. So here, the next thing again is for me to actually print my percentage. So inside curly bracket again, so I'm going to go ahead and print the percentage. I think in this particular case, it's actually called round percent. So round percentage. And I'm going to come outside here and format it as a percentage and go ahead and close this. So in this particular case, this one is no more valid. I'm going to take this off from here. And now let's run this. So we have a little challenge here. What is that? This F here. So the F is right. There is F. We have to close this quotes here. Okay. Now we have something like this. So if you look at it right now, it's giving us weird answers. So let's go over here and so inside here, we are not going to actually return this particular round percentage here. Instead, we're going to return PCT, right? PCT. And if I run this now, it gives me something like this. So this PCT can be anything you like. Like I can just say anything here, anything here. And if I come over here, I'm going to type in anything. and it's still gonna work, right? It's still gonna work. So if you understand how loop works, this is how it is. So look at it right now, 15%, 12%, 11% without percentage formatting, and over here we have it with percentage formatting. So what have we done? So if you look at it, we are looking at percentage of grand total right here. So if we decide not to show it as a percentage of grand total, and we want to show it as a percentage of the total of this particular two, once we actually get to asthma, we show it as percentage of this particular malaria and tuberculosis right here. How do we actually do just that? It's something very simple as well. We don't have to start writing from the scratch again. It's just for we to some kind of update the previous one. So over here, I'm going to copy this away from here, insert a new cell, and paste this one in here. So to make it very easy for you to understand, let us grab this particular part and delete it away from here. So now we are to calculate the top three, percentage, right? So what we are going to do right here, over here for the first time, we have actually, gotten the top three. And after we might have gotten the top three, the next thing again is to actually count, so count the top three, not counting it based on disease. Because if I go ahead and display what this one will give you, now we have this variable here. So we display it over here. And once we close and hit our enter key, it's giving us this particular number, which means this one will actually help us to create it as a grand total, and it's going to return something just like this. In order to avoid this again, what we are going to do right now is something very simple. Let us go ahead and remove this particular part here. So I'm going to do total diseases top three count. So it's crazy. So all we're going to do right now is just to say, okay, we want to actually count this particular one here, right? So if we count it, we can now see what it returns to us. So we do dot sum, and if I hit my enter key right now, so let's see, this should return. So here we go. I'm gonna just go ahead and return this. So this returns the numbers right here. And if I go ahead and actually run this now, it's going to give us malaria, asthma, and tuberculosis, and it's actually on values, not on percentage. We're going to convert to percentage later after all. So to actually create a percentage for that will round into 100% right now, without showing 15, 12, and 11%, what we're going to do right now is to quickly do something similar to what we have done before. So over here is going to be PCT for percentage. Top 3, right? So it's going to be equals, and over here we are going to take this particular top 3, which is this variable here. So open brackets, so we paste it in. So we are going to actually make sure we divide it by this very value here. So we paste this in, we close, and we multiply this by 100 to make sure it's displaying as some kind of percentage. So once we have done this now, we can just go ahead and, so we're not printing this again, so we'll remove this one. So we can go ahead and actually print and see. Print. So we print PCT top 3 here. So this is what it gives us, right? So it gives us the 39, 31, and 28 right here. So we have to make sure we round this, just like what we have done before. It's something very simple. We're going to round this. I'm going to create another function, so call round PCT here. So for round PCT right now, what I'm going to do is just to say, okay, I want to take in my PCT top 3 here and round it using dot round, so to 0 decimal number, so as type int, right? So once I've done this now, So we can actually go over here, cut this one from here and bring it to the bottom here. And now we're going to do round PCT. So if I hit my enter key, it has rounded this for me. So 39, 36 and 39, 32 and 20, 9 over here. That is what I have. So if you look at it, we have the same exact thing here. The only thing we don't have here is actually the percentages. So we're going to try to achieve that as well. So we have achieved that before. And over here, we have it in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this particular part from here and bring it up to this particular part, right? So for the print here, I'm going to take it off. So all you have to know how to do is, matching the right round part here. So over here, I'm going to type in round PCT here. And if I do this now, I should have it correctly. Can you see it now? I don't have to touch any of this now here. I think I've shown you how to do this. It's something very simple. Now we finally got to where we are going to. So we have answered the question beyond what the question is. And this is exactly what it is, right? So we have one more question to go. And that is going to be, are certain diseases more prevalent in one gender compared to the other? So we need to look at how we can actually answer this question in Python. Let's go quickly. So on a new cell, we have our question here. How do we actually quickly come up with the answer of that particular question? So this one is going to be very short. I'm not going to go too brief into this, but it's something very easy. We're going to be creating what we call cross-tabulated, table to actually show this by disease and as well by gender. And to do that is just for we to actually say gender underscore disease, right? So equals PD dot cross tab. So over here, we actually have our data frame is actually health underscore data. And inside here, we have a column called disease. Please make sure you write it the way it is as a column inside your table. So uppercase should always, be uppercase here. So now we do comma. So health underscore data again. So over here, what we're trying to do is to bring in the gender as part of it. So gender, and we go ahead and close this. So once we have done this right now, we can actually print this out to look at it, and that will actually best, answer our question. So we have not closed the bracket open for us. So over here, I'm going to print. So I'm printing diseases that are common among genders. So if I run this now, it's just going to run this for me. This is not what I just want to learn. So it's just like ahead of me. So I'm going to print the main thing. So print here, and I'm going to print gender underscore disease. So let's close and have this run. So once we run this right now, we're going to have this. So from here, we can start looking at, this right there. So can you now see what it is right now? It's something very simple and very easy. So maybe from here, you might want to go into showing, the top 3. That is going to be depends on what you really want, right? So we have actually learned how to display top 3 and even the smallest number. And over here, we have this here. So I believe this actually will give you what you really want. So you have learned a lot from here right now. Try to practice and actually apply the same exact thing you have learned here right on your own personal project. So See you in the next videos.